All right, guys, so this is going to be our tough day here. You're going to have to put all your brain muscles together to pull this off. There's nothing too super easy about this. You're going to have to use all of your strategies of estimating things and thinking what makes sense, utilizing that part of the Does McDonald's Sell Cheeseburgers Raw called compare, where you check and make sure that your leftovers is less than that divisor. So we're going to sort of put it all together here. I'm going to walk you through this process. If you do find that you want to do this day with a partner after you're done with me, I'm actually cool with you doing that so that you can work through it and think through it together. Or if you want to tackle it by yourself, of course you're welcome to do that. So let's go through this. So just to get some understanding going on, so we have 7,230 Smarties, and we're sharing it with 30 kids. So we still are going to go through that same process. So I want you right here to go ahead and put your Does McDonald's Sell Cheeseburgers Raw. This process is still going to be important to keep track of things, and we'll follow that together. So your very first step is checking off determine. But this time, here's what we're determining. We're determining, does 30 times something get me close to 7? And so right away, we know that doesn't work, so we're going to put our x there in that place value. So instead, we're asking our question about 72. So we're just dealing with bigger numbers rather than basic facts, which makes it a little bit more challenging. The good thing is that you can estimate to help make your decisions. So just imagine this being 70, and you're thinking 30 times what gets me close to 70, or even 3 times what gets me close to 7 to walk through that process. So I know that 30 times 2 would be 60, 30 times 3 would be 90, which goes over. So I'm going to determine that 2, and then we're going to multiply 30 times 2, which you know 3 times 2 is 6, with the 0. Okay. We're going to subtract 72 minus 60, check it off as you say each part. Now you can see we have 72 minus 60. You can go ahead and regroup, or if you just see that it's 12, you can go ahead and put 12. This check part is really important with this because you do need to look and determine if you messed up or not. If this is less than the divisor, then you're good and you made the right decision. If this is more than the divisor, then you picked a wrong number and you need to go back up and pick something closer. All right, we're still going to go ahead and bring down the 3 and box. But now look what we're dealing with on the tray. We're dealing with, does 30 times something get me close to 123? So again, bigger numbers, we're going to have to use strategies here. So we are going to repeat because there's more spots in the quotient. Draw your vertical line down, build your wall.
You know, a wall. It's time to build a wall.
And let's go ahead and repeat this process. So again, here we are with determine. So determine 30 times what gets me close to 123 without going over. So just do some estimating and rounding. This, I see the 12 here, so I can sort of think 3 times what gets me close to 12, that type of thing to help me out. I know 3 times 4 gets me close to 12. So if I'm doing 30 times 4, just so you can see that on the side, and you may want to take a lot of notes on the side. I know 30 times 4 would get me 120. That's pretty close. So we're making decisions like that as we go. So I'm going to go ahead and choose 4. I know 30 times 4 is 12 with a 0. And so that was my multiply. Now I'm going to subtract 123 minus 120, and it's a difference of 3. Check, is this less than the divisor? It is. So we continue. Bring down the 0 and box. This is what's left on my tray to divide up still. All right, so now we can see this will be nice. We're going to repeat. There's still a spot in the quotient. You have one more process to go, so build your wall there. And we have 30 times what gets me close to 30 without going over. That's a nice easy one. 30 times 1 is 30. Determine, multiply, subtract 30 minus 30 equals nothing. Check, we're definitely happy. Bring down nothing, box my remainder. up we go. And remember, we don't need to put r of 1, but we're just creating a habit. All right, let me do just a couple more with you, and then I'll let you do 4, 5, and 6 on your own. If after number 2 you want to try number 3 on your own, go ahead and pause this, try number 3, and you can always go back to the video and check it out. But I'm just going to do number 1, 2, and 3 video-wise. All right, so first thing, setup does McDonald's sell cheese, burgers, raw. Notice how small my writing is. You need to keep them the same size as the font on the paper. So let's go through this together. So we're going to determine 16 times what gets me close to 4. That doesn't work. So here's our x. We're going to deal with 49. So 16 is sort of close to 15. I can sort of count by 15s pretty easily. 49 is sort of close to 50. So I'm sort of thinking through like that. So I know 15 times 2 is 30. 15 times 3 is 45. So I think that might work. So I just want you to hear my thought process with that, to realize that it could work, but maybe it's over because I am estimating. So I just want you to see what happens if I put a 3. If you want to just wait a second and see how this plays out, and then catch up in a moment, you can. So let's just go ahead and play this out. Let's say I chose 3. I think it's really close as I can get. It might be over, though. I don't know. So we're going to go ahead and multiply, and you will need to just on the side do a little multiplication problem because they're larger. So 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 1 is 3. Add the regroup is 4. So look how close I'm at 48. So that was a good decision. So we definitely picked the right number. Now we're going to go ahead and multiply it, and we got 48. And now time to subtract. 49 minus 48 is 1. I'm going to check. My leftover is definitely less than my divisor. The kids are happy. Bring down the 3 and box. And we're going to repeat because there's a spot in the quotient. Build your wall.
You know, a wall. It's time to build a wall.
Start over again. Determine now 16 times what gets me close to 13. And yes, that's okay if the answer is nothing, because 16 times 1 is 16. So 0 is as close as we can get. So multiply. 16 times 0 is 0. We're going to subtract. 13 minus 0 is 13. Check. 13 is less than 16, so we did it right. Bring down the 2. And now we have a big number to deal with. And box. We're repeating because there's still a spot in the quotient. So here's our difficult challenge now, is we're dealing with counting by 16s to try to get close to a really big number, 132. So again, we have to use estimating, common sense, problem solving, a little bit of side multiplication to figure out how close we can get to 132. So we're going to do some estimating again. I know that 16 is close to 15. I know times 1 is 15, times 2 is 30, times 3 is 45, times 4 is 60. If that's times 4, that means times 8 is 120. I'm starting to get close to that with the times 8. If I did times 9, it puts me at 135. And I did estimate down. So I'm pretending I'm less than I really am. So I'm going to hope that times 8 works. But we'll find out. It's okay to be wrong, and that's my point. I just want to talk through the mental math process, and obviously I hit undo way too many times. Redo, 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 redo. There we go. Okay, so we said we think times 8. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 8 there, build our wall. So we're determining that we think it's times 8. So let's just do a side problem over here. 16 times 8, and let's check. So 6 times 8 is 48. 8 times 1 is 8. 9, 10, 11, 12. We're at 128. That's really close. Now make sure though, if you added another 16, would it go over? So 28, 30, it definitely would go over. So 8 is definitely the right number. So I want you to see that thinking that goes on. It just doesn't pop in our head. And no, you can't grab a calculator to figure it out. I want you to figure it out manually. All right, so now we're multiplying 16 times 8. Because of our problem up here, we know that it's 128. Time to subtract. Let's see, 28, 130, 132. So we have 4. Again, you can do all the regrouping and things like that. Go next door, get 10 more and all that. Or if you just sort of see the difference, it's fine for you to go ahead and just write that answer. All right, and we just subtracted, check. 4 is less than our divisor, so we did it right. Bring down, there's nothing to bring down, so let's just box our remainder. This is our remainder because there's nothing left in the quotient. So there you are, 308 with a remainder of 4. So how cool, if you were one of those 16 people, you get 308 Smarties. The teacher only gets 4. All right, at this point, if you want to pause it and try to work on things, you can. If you want to just do this one with me again, then you're welcome to do that too. But problem 4, 5, and 6 are either with a partner or on your own. And to be very honest, if you get to this as just too hard or whatever, then just don't do it and we can talk about it when I get back tomorrow. Okay? All right, so here's the last one here if you want to do it with me. So does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers raw? And here we go. Determine 28 times what gets me close to 6? No, 65. 28 is pretty close to 30, and 30 plus 30 is 60. So I'm going to guess probably 2 is right, because 28 times 3 is going to be like 30 times 3, which would get me way above that, like 90 or something. So I'm going to assume this is right. Again, you can do a little problem on the side up here. 28 times 2, we have 16. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So 56, that's definitely pretty close. And another 28 would go over. So we did our multiply. Let's go ahead and subtract 65 minus 56. So we're at 9. And then we're going to check. And look, we did a problem right because our leftover is less than the divisor. Bring down the 1 and box. And then we're going to repeat because there's spots in the quotient. Time to build our wall.
A wall. It's time to build a wall.
All right, next, determine 28 times what gets me close to 91. So again, 28 is close to 30, so we're doing this mental math estimating. So 3, 6, 9. So multiplying by 3 could get me nice and close to 90 there. So I'm going to do the problem on the side. The 3 times 28. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 2 is 8. So we're 84. That's really close. So we determined 3 is probably right. Let's multiply. We know 28 times 3 is 84 because we did it up here. And subtract to find out if we did it right for sure. So let's see, 84 plus 6 is 90 plus 1 more. So we're at 7. And again, you can just do that actual regrouping if you want, if that's easier for you. So check. Are the kids happy? Yes, we did it right. Good. Okay, bring down the 1 and box. And we're going to repeat because we have a spot left in the quotient. 28 times what gets me close to 71 without going over? Again, let's pretend that this is close to 30. 3, 6, I'm not going to go to 3, 6, 9, so I'm going to guess 2 again. We already did that problem up here, so we already know it's 56. So we can go ahead and determine that it's a 2. Multiply 28 times 2 is 56. Subtract. Again, you can just eyeball it, or if you want to do the actual regrouping, 11 minus 6, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. 6 minus 5 is 1. Even though that's a big number, it's less than the divisor. That means we did it correctly. All right, check. The kids are happy. Nothing to bring down, so we're going to box. And this is our remainder. So out of 6,511 Smarties, and sharing it with 28 kids, each kid gets 232 Smarties and 15 left for the teacher. All right, so that's how that works. Your job is problem 4, 5, and 6, and go ahead through that process. Just to help you out, just remember this is close to 60. If that helps you, this is close to 40 to be doing your estimating, and this is close to 80 to do your estimating. So use all our tricks with multiplying by multiples of 10 to think through that, and you're going to have to do a bunch of little side problems like we did to test out your multiplication, make sure you chose the right one. All right, so good luck with all that. Like I said, this can be done with a partner or individual just because it is a little bit more complex. But I'm excited to see how you do it. You guys are very, very smart, so trust yourselves and don't tell yourselves that you can't do it, because you definitely can. Check your work with the calculator when you're done, and then we can go over this tomorrow. All right, happy Valentine's Day tomorrow.